Hi. I was doing some comparative benchmark testing for the APU video. Now, it's a separate video in and of itself, but yeah, I was doing some comparative testing, and this is just very interesting here. So, I'll explain more later and more in the video in and of itself, but these are the settings that I've used in, I used Ryzen controller software because AMD still hasn't given Ryzen Mobile like Ryzen Master support like AMD. Come on. So as you can see here, this is the stock one, and it's at 1065, which is pretty good, but is also, if we pull up the results that Notebook Check got in here, is not 1477. Now, differences between TDPs in mobile is way bigger than in desktop, because usually in desktop you will have like 65 watt CPUs running at well over 90 watts when you turn on, say, multi-core enhancement or what is it, precision boost overdrive, for example. But on mobile, the disparities are even bigger, because more often than not you don't know what variant you're getting. So you can see here it's saying Ryzen 5 3500U, and if we pop open any other diagnostic tool, it will say like 15 watts or something. But it really just depends on how the OEM has configured it, and Acer has configured it so that it performs about 40% less than what Notebook Check who had recorded in their performance testing. Now the minimum, it does fit the minimum of 1063. Sorry about that, I cut off right there. It seems like I no longer have enough space for my SD card. Anyways, it does fit the minimum of 1063, but it's also very far from the maximum of 1540. Although, then again, you probably will not reach 1540 on here. And the reason why is obviously TDP and clock speed. Now, what I observed when running these benchmarks right here is that the system tries to maintain a 3 gigahertz all-core turbo. That's 3 gigahertz on all 4 cores, and it's something this thin, and especially with the cooling solution that, if you recall, was pretty tinny. Yeah, no, it does not hold it. It actually drops down below the base clock of 2.1 at around 2 gigahertz, even as low as 1.8 or 1.6 gigahertz. And then it bounces back again. Once the temperature reaches 74, it bounces back up to 3 gigahertz. And then once it reaches the thermal limit of 90, it bounces right back down. So as you can see, the changes, it's not just TDP we're talking about. The power state changes has made the stock speed very low. By using Ryzen controller, so in this instance we were using 18 watts, we were able to bump that up by 10% at 1174. Incrementing that by 1 watt, we can see that we did have an improvement that's a bit above the what you call this, the margin of error. But that's a fairly small improvement, and going up to 20 watts, we can see why. We are hitting the 90-degree threshold for thermal throttling, and it throttles right down to base clock, and even further than that, and then bounces right back up to 2 in 20 watts anyways, about 2.6 to 2.7 gigahertz all core. By setting a higher thermal limit at 95 watts, we were finally able to breach 1200 megahertz, or about 1.2 gig, 1200, oh, I'm sorry. We were able to breach 1200 on Cinebench. This is not clock speed, ladies and gentlemen. It is almost 12 in the night, so pardon me. We were able to breach 1200 in Cinebench at 95 degree limit. So this is running at around 2.7 gigahertz all-core turbo, which is very close to 3 gigahertz, but not quite there. At 2.2 watts, actually, 2.2 watts, we were able to reach about 1300 1300 on Cinebench. Oh, actually, this is exactly what it was, because, and I still have the screenshots in here because I needed proof, and also be so that I can remember the scores when I was recording them. Right around there we go, at around 1300 points. I did not record the clock speeds of these because I had to do something, so I'm sorry. But if the improvements in performance are anything to go by, let's see here, 1300 divided by 1244, that's about the 5% increase. So we punch down 2.7, multiply that by 1.05, we get around 2.8 gigahertz all core, which is very damn close to what this chip should be capable of. And we're closing in on notebook checks, notebook checks recorded points. Now, I did see I think it was a TechRadar one that only also did build around 1200 points right here. So it goes to show the TDP. Sorry, I cut off again. This shows you how important both CPU tuning, cooling, and power is, because as I will discuss in the video, Ryzen Mobile, or just Ryzen as a whole's voltage curve is ridiculous, at least on stock, and AMD really needs to, at the very least, rethink what their voltage curves that they give to OEMs like Acer are, because this chip could easily reach about 1300 to 1400 even on this dinky ass cooler. It's just they need to modify their voltage curve, because you do not need 1.275 volts to reach 3.7 or even 3 gigahertz. So that's it. That's my my short vlog today. That's about it. The video will probably come up, I think, about next month if I'm lucky, because I am kind of busy right now. So yeah, there you go. More comparisons, by the way. I'm planning to run a test on, I think, an 8260, an 8625E, something like that. It was my friend's laptop, and conveniently it had an 8th Gen i5, so that would be a fun comparison. So yeah, there's also a similarly equipped AMD laptop, also 3500U. It was an HP that my friend also has, another one. So if I get to test that, it'll be fun.